Saul Tarvitz, hero of the Imperium. Saul Tarvitz was a respected Astartes. He was 10th Company Captain of the Emperor's Children Legion. He and his men fought many battles and earned many honours. Tarvitz was somewhat different to his fellow captains. He cared not for the honour or the glory that may ascend him through the ranks of the Emperor's children. He only ever sought to serve his legion and the Emperor in battle. His most notable feat was at Isfahan III, where Horus unleashed his betrayal on the Emperor and the Imperium. A huge fleet of Emperor's children, Death Guard, World Eaters, and the newly named Sons of Horus gathered to reclaim the planet of Isfahan III, whose governor had rebelled against the Emperor's rule. But there was a more sinister motive to the conquest of the planet. It gave Horus, who was recently crowned as War Master by the Emperor himself, an excuse to amass a huge force of Space Marines. Here is where Horus would unleash his betrayal. He would purge the first ranks of loyalists who he could not trust to side with him in the coming war against the Emperor, and destroy them. While the loyalists battled and won back the planet in the Emperor's name, Captain Saul Tarvitz learned of the incoming betrayal while stationed in orbit. He put his life on the line to steal a Thunderhawk gunship and flew it down to the planet. He brought warning to those who battled of the coming betrayal. Horus unleashed a bombardment of the World Eater virus upon the planet, but with the warning of Saul Tarvitz, the loyalists moved to bunkers they had recently only taken from the enemy. Those who had the chance to make it to the bunker survived the bombardment, and when Horus auspects the planet to see the destruction he had wrought upon the loyalists, he was enraged. He learned that 3/4 of the forces he had sent to die had actually survived. The traitors in orbit quickly drew up plans to destroy the Marines still on the surface of the planet. Each day lost would be a day to warn the Emperor of the act of treachery that was unfolding. Forces of the World Eaters, led by Primarch Angron himself, and the Emperor's children, led by Lord Commander Eidolon, began their landings on the planet to root out and destroy the last remaining loyal Astartes. The easy victory the traitors planned for soon turned against them, as captains such as Saul Tarvitz, Garvey Olokan, and Tarik Torgadon rallied the loyalist forces and led a counter to the incoming traitors. Since the loyalists were outnumbered, they used guerrilla-style tactics to draw in the much larger forces of the traitor legions, and began using the terrain to their benefits, destroying and inflicting mass casualties on the enemy forces. 2 full months passed, and the traitors were no closer to victory, and Captain Saul Tarvitz stood defiant against the War Master and his traitorous brothers. Though, despite their stalwart defence, nothing could last forever. Every day fresh reinforcements landed upon the planet, and the loyalists slowly lost ground and were pushed back to make their final stand. As Horus deployed his Titan legions to break down the fortifications of the palace, where the loyalists were embedded for their last stand, Saul Tarvitz would encounter one last act of treachery. The loyalist Emperor's children captain Lucius contacted Commander Eidolon from within the defences, and promised to deliver Tarvitz and break the loyalist defences. In return for this act, he wanted to be accepted back into the Legion and join Horus and his Primarch in their battle against the Emperor. Eidolon accepted the proposal. Lucius slaughtered a group of 30 Astartes who were defending a critical location of the defences. Lucius then challenged Tarvitz to a one-on-one duel to finally determine who was the better warrior. Captain Saul Tarvitz emerged the victor, and Lucius fled the battle and returned to the arms of his traitor legion. As the forces of the War Master moved in for the final blow, Saul Tarvitz stood firm, surrounded by 100 loyalists. The shells fell around them, and the palace began to crumble and shatter with the might of the traitor bombardment. Captain Sullivan turned to Saul Tarvitz and asked one simple question. "Did we hurt them? Did this mean anything?" Saul Tarvitz, captain of the 10th Company, former legionnaire of the Emperor's children, hero of the Imperium, turned to Sullivan and replied, "We hurt them here. They'll remember this."